Hi, friends. I'm Megan Dotine with Your Happiness Habit, and I am excited to share with you about the astrology of 2025, the year of revolution. This is going to be a unique year in several ways. We will find it to be dynamic, extraordinary, and transformative. All of the outer planets are actually changing signs this year, which is something that has not happened since 1778. So you can imagine a lot has happened since 1778. It is really a moment of both personal and collective transformation. A lot of new beginnings, endings, and new beginnings this year. So we're going to talk about some of the key themes. Like I said, completions, beginnings, end of cycle, birth to new structures. There's going to be a transition out of ways that are outdated and no longer work for us. In Chinese astrology, it is the year of the wood snake. So this is about truth being revealed, shadows being illuminated, shedding of the old skin, and rebirth of the new. Also in numerology, it's a 9 year of a 9 year cycle. So we are in a completion year for wrapping things up and getting closure. This year, particularly, intention is everything. Being crystal clear about your values, intentional with how you spend your time, your money, your priorities, what relationships and things in your life you're investing in, more so than ever before, because it will be such a year of ups and downs in a lot of ways. But there's a lot of opportunity if you stay grounded and anchored to really transition and transform your life in big ways. Okay, so the year might feel like it's starting off slowly. We are coming out of a Mercury retrograde that ended mid-December, and Mercury rules communication, it rules travel, and also technology. So even people who don't know a lot about astrology usually have heard of Mercury retrograde. So you might be feeling a little foggy or burnt out, a little sluggish energy coming into the new year. Give yourself grace because that's perfectly normal. I find that years that do start with planets in retrograde often feel like this. And not only was Mercury retrograde, but Mars is currently still retrograde. So it's definitely until February 24th, it'll feel like Mars rules the way we take action, it rules our ambition, it rules men, the way we deal with our anger. So it's a masculine planet that wants to get it done, check off boxes, and forge ahead. That's not really the energy right now. So you might be feeling a little bit tense. You might be feeling like you're just still reorganizing. That's what a retrograde is really great for. All of those words, rethinking, reorganizing, renegotiating. And so really cleaning things up and getting prepared for when the season is fertile for like, yeah, let's forge ahead. Everything's really in harmony for that. Also, there's some Mars-Pluto opposition. So if there's been some tension or conflict that you've experienced personally, and obviously we know globally that there are those things happening. In fact, Justin Trudeau stepped down as the Prime Minister of Canada yesterday. So it's really important to just know that there's going to be some chaos and keep yourself anchored and insulated as much as possible from the chaos of the world. Like no one can steal the peace in your own heart and in your own mind. So keeping yourself very mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually fit. Also, there's a tense aspect, just to mention it, around Inauguration Day in the United States. So the aspect will go exact of Sun Pluto conjunction on January 21st. So it's a shifting of power. Pluto is big power. And so we will notice some things around that time. It'll definitely be eventful. And it's kind of a good time to just like lay low and go with the flow as much as you can. All right, these are all the planetary shifts. So Pluto going into Aquarius, the North Node in Pisces, Neptune into Aries, Saturn into Aries, Jupiter into Cancer. Then we will have Uranus go into Gemini. So as you can see, there's a lot of change happening, and I will break this down in my best layman terms. So Pluto moving into Aquarius, this is really about collective consciousness. Because Pluto, that's the one that takes over 200 years to get around the zodiac, really the theme is we the people. So we're wrapping up a cycle of Pluto in Capricorn, which started in 2008. So if you think about your life in 2008 and how much you've evolved and grown since then, and all the different things that have happened in the world and how we've changed, this is going to be a massively impactful transit and time together with Pluto and Aquarius. So This is a good time of innovation and technology, and we're going to see different power systems break down and new ones emerge, which we've already been seeing. And also, there's going to be a real focus on community and humanitarian efforts. Okay, so the North Node is going to be entering Pisces. These are where the eclipse happen each year. And with North Node entering Pisces, this is really about a call for compassion, creativity, and spiritual growth. Pisces is a water sign. It's very intuitive, it's whimsical, it's dreamy. And so really the lesson here is about letting go of rigidity and control as much as possible, learning to trust your intuition, to tune into your heart, and to kind of take yourself from your mind, head down to the heart, and to live in a very balanced way as much as possible. And also, it's a good time of emotional healing. So focusing on emotional well-being and reconnecting to, your spirituality in whatever way you experience that. And it's a time of service. So really aligning and thinking about the greater good. I think, Tony Robbins has always said life is about growing and giving. I think that that's a very true statement of this time with the North Node in Pisces. Okay, so we have Uranus in Gemini. So Uranus is the energy of like the great shakeup. If you think about a snow globe, that's Uranus. So it can be erratic, it can be unpredictable. Some people love the shakeup energy, and other people, it's like, hard on their nervous system. So speed and innovation is going to be the theme of Uranus and Gemini, and it's going to be there for about 7 years. So we're going into, again, another long transit. There's going to be massive accelerations in communication and in technology. AI, which is already here, but it's going to just explode. Robotics, drone deliveries, self-driving cars. I remember the first time I saw a Waymo when I was in Scottsdale, I had called my husband because I'm like, oh my gosh, I have this car next to me and there's no driver in it. It was so crazy with all the cameras and everything. But we're going to find new ways of connecting and new ways of living, and some things that we thought were like very futuristic are going to be happening right here today. So it's going to be a really exciting time in a lot of ways. However, Uranus in Gemini, because Gemini is an air sign, it's a lot of erratic mental energy. And so it's going to be more important than ever to stay grounded, to really keep yourself centered. And I actually heard a quote earlier today by philosopher Dr. Bayo that I loved. And he said, "The times are urgent, so let us slow down. The times are urgent, so let us slow down." Gemini is a very curious energy. It's fun. It likes to travel. It likes ideas. It's talkative. So just knowing when to have boundaries and where, even with yourself, with social media or screen time or, too much news or whatever it is, to just really be able to pull in and dwell in the silence is going to be really important as a daily habit moving forward. So we've got Saturn and Neptune moving into Aries, and Aries is a fire sign. And so this is going to be a little bit erratic. I could imagine that there might be some water and fire events, more flooding, and then some fires. And just we've already seen a lot of earthquakes, and that was when Uranus was in Taurus. So now that it's moving out of an earth sign into fire. But the positive aspect of this is that this is really where spirituality and action are going to blend and marry very well. So we're going to be looking for not just idealism, but like practical, how can we move things forward in all these major areas, in healthcare and in education and in the economy and in the way we do life. So it's going to be a really global shift with especially that Pluto moving into Aquarius. And again, self-care, can't talk about it enough. Staying really stable, really grounded, really anchored, and getting enough rest and just taking care of your body. So Saturn moving in, Saturn is all about rules and structure and discipline. It's like the stern father of the zodiac. And so Saturn moving into Aries is going to be really interesting because I think we're going to find ourselves admiring a different type of leader. I think that leader of like worship the king is a thing of the past, with the energies coming in this year. And so really, we're going to be respecting people who have courage and who take ownership leadership of what's happening and are a voice of the people, and also are very disciplined, very humble. I think we're really going to learn to admire humble leaders. We're going to get out of the like kind of worshiping celebrity mentality, and we're going to be breaking old patterns about like patriarchal, leadership that doesn't really make sense and doesn't fit us anymore. So we're just going to have a new relationship with that. Then we have Neptune moving into Aries. I really liked Braveheart imagery for this. Neptune is the planet that's like your dreams and your illusions, and it's idealistic and it's romantic and creative and artistic, which is all so wonderful. And that energy, it's been in Pisces, which is where it's at home, right? Moving into Aries is going to really transition us. Again, it's a fire sign. So we're going to see people who are, again, taking inspired action as being brave and bold. Like not so much like the monk, meditating in a cave for 50 years, not that that's not great too, but like someone who's like living everyday life in the mayhem, in the chaos, raising kids, working, but like showing up for their community and doing things that help others and looking for where they can extend love and generosity and care in their own lives, in their neighborhoods, in their communities. And that's what we're really going to start to value. And somebody who can take spiritual ideals and really put them into practical everyday life. Like, okay, great. If you're meditating every morning for 20 minutes or an hour, or you have your spiritual practices, wonderful. But if you get in your car and you're cutting people off and flipping people off and you screaming at your kids, like that's not the type of energy. So like, how can you live it in the moment to moment of the day? Also, a really strong energy of expressing creativity and courage. And I think there will be some smashing through illusions. So when Neptune was in Pisces, because it's so dreamy, you can kind of get caught up in fantasy and illusions. Neptune in Aries to me is a very sobering transit. It's like, this is reality. And so I think that people will be examining where they have addictions or habits or things that no longer serve them. And we might even see a lot of people, there's already kind of been a trend of people giving up drinking just because they feel like it's not adding to their life, it's not good for their health, it's not enhancing things. So even though they don't necessarily have a drinking problem or wouldn't be deemed an alcoholic, they're just deciding like, hey, this habit no longer serves me, and I'm going to focus my time and energy on these things that do fuel me and are life enhancing. So I think we'll see some of those. And for people who do struggle with addictions, I think that they'll be forced to face them and confront those head on. Okay, so Jupiter moving into Cancer. Jupiter is known as the Santa Claus of the zodiac. It rules wealth and benevolence and good fortune, spiritual expansion. Cancer is a water sign. Jupiter is very happy in Cancer. So I would imagine that at the time Jupiter goes into Cancer, the markets and economy will be doing very well. So we can look forward to that this summer. And Jupiter will be in Cancer for a year, a full year. So this is really a time where emotional well-being will take center stage. People will really value how somebody's feeling and what their emotional needs are. There will also be, because Cancer rules home and family, there will be a very like heart-centered connection to your tribe and to what matters most to you. You might find yourself making your home more cozy, investing in your home in different ways, and then finding opportunities for nurturing relationships and creating stability. Okay, another thing I wanted to mention is we are in a retrograde year with Mars and Venus. And again, this only happens every couple of years. So themes, this is a balancing and a healing of like yin and yang energy, masculine and feminine. So Venus is going retrograde in Aries and back into Pisces in March. And this is all about love and what we value, finances, relationships. So it's a good time where some of those things might be reassessed. Again, from here, I can't see your chart, so I don't know specifically what's highlighting for you. But if you do know your chart, definitely look for where those signs are, Aries and Pisces, and what's going to be up and cooking for you. And then we're currently in the Mars retrograde. So good time to pause before actions, really conserve your energy, focus on cleaning up the past so that you can move forward, with good force once the retrograde is over. And then just knowing, usually when we see Venus and Mars retrograde cycles, there's a lot of breakups. We hear about a lot of breakups in celebrities and different couples. And so it can be a time that feels chaotic, but just know things are getting cleaned out for the better. Lessons would be really walking in your integrity, clarifying what you need, and being able to communicate that in an effective way, and also making heart-centered choices. So, if you know your chart and you have planets in cardinal and mutable signs at early degrees, so 0 to 3 degrees, because that's where Neptune and Saturn are going to be hanging out this year. There's 30 degrees in each sign. So if you're in that early 0 to 3 degrees of these signs, just know that it's going to be even more potent for you. And this is really a time where you might find yourself more sensitive. You might find yourself more sensitive to the foods you're eating, to toxins in the environment, to the water that you're drinking. And again, I can't stress enough, like the daily practices of stillness, of being in nature. Go put your feet in the sand or in the dirt, wherever you live, in the grass. Try to be outside as much as possible. You can get grounding sheets or earthing blankets. Like there's all kinds of different things that you can do. Focus on the foods that really nourish your body and make you feel good and aligned and clear thinking and sleep well, and be mindful about consumption in general and just the environment that you're around. And yes, just breathe. Okay, in conclusion, it is going to be a powerful year. There's going to be a lot of transformation. You'll notice that there will be a lot of ups and downs in the world. And depending on if people are really in a spirit of surrender and really doing their own personal growth work and soul development, you'll see that their lives are working very well. And hopefully that's you. And it's not always going to feel like, oh, yay, this was the best day, right? Life is all about ups and downs and learning to ride the waves. And I've always liked that saying that the biggest problem people have is that they don't think they should have any. Life is about soul growth. And so there's always going to be opportunities and blessings in every year and challenges. That's just the way it goes. But how can you really keep to your center and your true north? How can you live your life more intentionally and design a life that you love? If you're in a job that's not satisfying, or if you're in a relationship that you know is not the best for both of you, if there's something that you really want to do and your heart's had a dream for a long time, this is the year to really make preparation and take action on those things, because really incredible things can happen if you're anchored, if you're grounded, if you're focused and intentional. So that's what I will leave you with. If you want to know more, I'm going to leave some notes in the comments, but basically I have a quick guide to the astrology of 2025 with dates, with some reflection questions about different transits, and just kind of the notable things that you need to know. It's a high-level guide, but it gets into a little bit more detail than this, and also explains the planets and the signs a little bit in case you're not that familiar. So it would be something that's good for somebody who doesn't know that much about astrology, as well as someone who does, because there's those reflection questions, and it's just kind of easy to track all the dates when things are happening. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm wishing you so many blessings in this year, and it's going to be a remarkable one that we will always remember. So thank you.